Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Legend of Zelda The Oracle of Ages. I'm Cardboard Blair, and in the last episode, we became the hero of the Gorons because we kicked the Great Moblin's ass, and then we saved the Elder in the past, and he gave us the key to the next dungeon, which is Level 5, the Crown Dungeon. I really like this dungeon, but I really hate this dungeon as well, because this dungeon gave me a lot of problems as a kid. But I love it because it has one of my favorite items in any Zelda game ever. The item that you get for doing shit. But I hate it because this is probably the first like non-linear, like super, like the other dungeons, they're not like so linear that you're like walking down a path, but you know, there's like an obvious route that you're supposed to kind of just soldier on down like the entire time. This one doesn't really have that route. Like there is of course a correct way to go, but it's much less obvious. So you can kind of get lost and just spend forever in here whenever you don't really need to spend forever in here. So I'm gonna do my best not to get lost. But you know, this is a dirt cock, and so we'll hope for the best. Just you know, see what gets done. But there are a lot of cool puzzles with the seed shooter and the switch hook in this dungeon, which makes for some really neat things. I really like that, you know, just switching up some of the items that you get in the game opens up so many opportunities for puzzles and such. And speaking of puzzles and such, actually I think we need to, I was gonna go ahead and grab that chest, but I think if we continue onwards, we can get stuff down here, which would be kind of nice to get more stuff, because you know, stuff is always good. And that ring that we got is really nice because I love being able to shoot the sword beams even whenever we're not full health. I think it's called the light ring, which is nice. And like I was just saying, we're already at a seed shooter puzzle. Now, these things are just like the eyeballs in the Sword and Shield maze, where you have to shoot a seed into them to turn the eye on, but they turn off after a while. So what you need to do is you need to angle a seed at the right spot so where it hits all three of them before they like go out, and then you get a small key, and that's nice. But like I was saying earlier, actually wait, oh yeah, the areas. I was gonna say, where's the switch? Because we need to hit the switch. Because that's like, the switches, we've seen the switches before where they make the little blocks come up that create like pseudo walls. Like we've seen those in dungeons before, but this is like really the level that like makes them. Like those things are like the big thing for this dungeon. And what you want to do, like I said, like that, it's kind of not linear, and you can kind of get screwed if you don't, you know, take every chance you get. One of the things that you need to do is just go ahead and, you know, you want to go back and get that treasure chest that we saw whenever we came up. It's not like one of those things like, oh, I'll just come back later after you get the dungeon item, which is what I'm so used to doing, because Zelda just kind of, like, beats that into your brain, where you're like, well, I can't get that at the moment, I'll come back once, you know, I have a dungeon item. But you need to, like, kind of turn around immediately and come get this, because, otherwise you'll get later in the dungeon, like, I need a fucking key, where's the key? This is definitely a dungeon where you're gonna end up stockpiling a lot of keys, if I remember it correctly, because there aren't, like, too many, like, immediate keyholes. And, remembering that you can shoot a seed past those blocks really helps in the long run, because otherwise you're gonna get stuck in a lot of places. Speaking of getting stuck in a lot of places, I think this area right here is one of the areas you don't want to go down, because since it's non-linear, well, I keep saying that it's not linear, like, none of the levels are, like, too terribly linear, but there's a lot of, like, paths early on that go to places that you shouldn't be going to until, like, much later on, and actually, damn it, I was hoping for the best that we were going the right way, and we were technically going the right way. We just need to, come back whenever the, blocks are in a different position. I've always called them blocks because they, you know, they're square, they look like blocks to me. I played with Legos all my life, so I kind of think in terms of squares and blocks. Like, that's just how I've trained my brain. So they look like blocks to me. Pseudo-wall blocks, whatever you want to call them. We're gonna need to come back whenever the blue is down, because that one area was like blocked off, and we should be able to get past there. Actually, I'm hoping there's not a thing over here that's gonna stop us, because I think the dungeon map's just right up here, right up ahead here. I try to combine a lot of words in that sentence. Well, a lot of different ways to say that in that sentence. Because just right over here is the boss door. Like I said, very like non-linear, all that bullshit. And I really need to stop saying that, because I'm starting to sound like a broken record. But I tend to, like, ignore this place, because once you get the map, well, you wouldn't get the map, but you don't come over here, because you don't need to come over here, because it's the boss door, so you end up finding it later, but you really need it, well, you don't really need it, but if you go over there, you can get the map, so you'll, like, go through this entire dungeon, have the map, and go, where where the fuck's the map? And then you just get at the very end. It's like, oh, well, okay. Like I said, seed shooter puzzles are abundant in this dungeon, which is really neat. You just gotta light up the torches, so you just angle them off the little things, and the world is good. This puzzle, you just need to memorize the pattern, and you come over here and you gotta push the blocks to match the pattern. Now the pattern isn't too hard, but for some reason I tend to forget it because I'm a dum-dum. Whoops, I actually was hoping to jump that because blue is on the top. Because for a second there I was thinking that red wasn't, the red might not be on the top, but no, it was blue. Was blue down or? The bad thing is if you push it up one of these blocks up against the wall, you kind of like screw yourself out of it. And actually, was the yellow at the bottom? I don't think yellow was at the bottom. I remember yellow was in the right spot. I'm a silly. We'll just push that up there for the time being. We'll come back to it because blue is the one that is one down. Red stays where it is. Then we push the other yellow block over, and it's not a hard puzzle at all. But for some reason I always like overestimate how far the blocks need to go out and end up screwing myself out of like the blocks. But here's the dungeon item, which you get very earlier. The cane of Samaria. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But that's how I've always said it. This is a returning item from A Link to the Past, and is one of my favorite items in the Legend of Zelda series, because it does one of the coolest things in terms of puzzles, and what it does is it creates blocks. Like, that sounds really stupid, and whenever I first got it, I'm like, I can make blocks, this doesn't, no, what do I do with this? But it is really neat, because, we're able to do all these new kind of, like, block puzzles, and, get more in-depth with them. I always thought that was so neat. Like, you think this is gonna make, this is like a perfect example of like an item that makes your life easier, but whenever they do it, they're like, okay, now that you have this item, we can do a lot more with the puzzles, so we can screw you out of a lot more, stuff that you'd be able to do. Which I just always thought that the Cane of Samaria was so cool, and I don't think it was in Minish Cap. It's been a while since I played Minish Cap. Like, a while being like last year, actually 2 years ago maybe. I've lost all track of time. I'm very bad at that. But no, the only games I remember it being in Ages and A Link to the Past, which is a shame because it's so cool. I think it has a small offensive property where if you make a block on something like I just did, it hurts them. Which, can kind of like just fuck shit up with that. But no, it's more of a puzzle item. But I always just thought it was so cool, and you can make blocks in air, I think. Oh, I thought you'd be able to make blocks in air. I guess I remember that incorrectly. Just one of those things. Now this room's a major jerk if you go about it the right way. Like if you do this puzzle the way that the creators intended you to do it, this can kind of be a jerk because the floor is invisible. You can't see. But what you can do is you make the blocks to kind of, feel a path out so you can get by without a problem. You can also destroy your blocks by hitting with a sword. Now, what I've always liked to do, though, is rather than going the rest of the way, is just to lay down a synth seed and just hop over there. Because the second half of this gets, like, really bullshit and it just starts screwing you over, so that can end up taking you, like, a while. But no, you can just hop over here, just cheese it the hell out of it, and then just, switch hook your way back. You don't need the Cane of Samaria to do that. Like, you could come back and do that earlier than getting the cane, but you get the cane so early on that there's no reason to skip it. Or, I mean, there's no reason to, trouble yourself with trying to figure that out without it. Yeah, I actually said the exact opposite of that. How dumb of me. But was this red or was it blue on that side? Okay, good, red. But I just always thought that was so cool with the Cane of Samaria and all that. And actually, do we need to go? So remember there was a path that we could go that way, but I'm not sure if we have everything we need to go. Actually no, we'll go down and check out what's crack-a-lacking down there. Unfortunately, you end up having to run back to the same switch a lot. So in this first part of the dungeon, you end up going back to the main hub, just to hit that stupid button over and over again. Luckily, the seed shooter makes it very convenient to hit the button because, you don't have to worry. Like, if you come like this way like I did, you don't have to go, oh shoot, I'm stuck here. You can just, just whack up the synth seed. Which I always thought, when I did that as a kid, I was like, yes, I am a fucking genius! But no, it's kind of an obvious thing once you use your burn, but I'm not good at using my burn because I'm a dum-dum. The BMOS and the 2D games, I think I've complained about them before, but I really hate them because they're like major dicks because it's so hard to dodge them within two-dimensional space. So the easiest way I find to dodge them is to just go ahead and you know, just jump over them. It's a shame that you don't get the better system of jumping in this game, since the Rocks Cape doesn't exist. Oh no, this is what I was thinking of. You can screw those guys. Like earlier when I said you can make blocks in the air, you can't do that. You can screw over the anti-fairies just by laying them on the ground. When they go around them, they get stuck. Actually, I don't think those guys aren't the anti-fairies. I don't think. I don't remember their names. They're not that important though. We don't need to worry about their names. The keys can be like jerks with the seed shooter because they can, you know, eat up your seed, but it's not such a big problem that you need to worry too much about. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and we're probably gonna need our feather once we walk in. Yeah, we're gonna need our feather once we walk in here. Jeez, Mom. If I remember this puzzle right, what you want to do is you want to push both these blocks on each space. The bad thing is that they move together. Now, the solution to doing this, though, which is really neat, is you stop it from moving by putting a block in its path. Like, I always thought this was just so cool. Like, I don't get why this item is... You just don't see it. It's such a cool item. Like, I have a giant smile on my face. I love this item so much. It's just so much fun. And we have 4 keys on us right now. And we've, like, used... Have we used 2 keys? No, I think we've only opened 1 door. Actually, does that work in this game? I was thinking, is there a way to get back to the dungeon entrance faster? Because I'm thinking that there is. I guess there isn't, because I remember, like, in Majora's Mask, if you play the Song of Soaring, you can get out much faster, but I wasn't sure if that was a thing in this game. So, you know, might as well just check, because, you know, better than having to run back to the beginning every time. I mean, I guess we're not running back all the way to the beginning, but it's still a bit inconvenient. I guess it's inconvenient either way. And I like how the Sparky guy just kind of runs up both sides. Darn, I was hoping to jump. I should have noticed that I had the cane on. But I just love the cane of Samaria. Like, it's just so cool, and you just don't see it in very many games. But now that we've... damn it! I'm gonna go hit that button. I'll be back. I honestly don't remember what I was talking about before, which is kind of a shame. Because I almost thought that I was going somewhere with whatever I was talking about, but that's not important. Just what happened to me is kind of a small taste of what's probably going to happen the first time you play this dungeon, because you get really lost. And luckily I've been able to beat a bunch of, like, the patterns of the levels into my head, so I won't get so lost, but, I'm just lucky that we were able to go ahead and get all those keys as fast as we were able to. And here we have the mini-boss. Now, this guy's kind of a joke of a mini-boss, like most mini-bosses in this game. His attack is throwing this ball at you, and the way to hurt him is throwing his ball at him. Now, the ball kind of disappears randomly. Sometimes it feels like it's time-related, sometimes it's, like, well, time-related in that you've been, like, holding the ball too long. Sometimes it's just, like, decides to go away. But you can just completely cheese this fight. You can get him into a corner and just kind of, like, rape him with his ball. After a while it disappears because, you know, the game's like, okay, you kicked his ass a little too hard. But he's very slow. He gets really excited whenever you're not holding the ball, so he moves a bit faster. But chances are the ball's going to drop closer to you than it is going to drop to him. So you can just kind of, you know, once he's in a corner, you can just go get the ball and just come back and continue beating the shit out of him. So he's not that hard. My items have come all unorganized again. Oh, darn. It's not that big of a problem. This puzzle always kind of threw me for a loop because, you know, I was a dumb little kid whenever I played this game the first time. And I walk in here, and I see the, you see the diamond thing over there, and I start thinking, okay, I need to use my switch hook to get that block over there, and I'm not thinking, like, oh, or I could use that convenient item for making blocks that I just got, because, you know, being a dumb little kid. I mean, you just get the compass, so it's not important that you get it, but, you know, there's a treasure chest right there. You want that shit. It's a good thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep my cane on my secondary item, because we're probably going to need it. It's, you know, always a decent thing to have. Actually, what happens if you make a cane? Okay. I was wondering what would happen if you made a block on a moving, one of these moving platforms, but the game's just like, no, that's just too crazy. Stop doing that. Like, I don't know what to do with that, man. That block is moving, and I'm moving, and just too much moving. I don't think the game likes, you know, moving platforms all that much, as evidenced by the jerky moving platforms in Skull Dungeon. But, you know, we're out of Skull Dungeon. We don't need to talk about that anymore. We need to talk about Crown Dungeon. The level, of course, being called Crown Dungeon because of the shape. Like, I know I criticized Dancing Dragon Dungeon for not having a dancing dragon in it, but the shape, like, okay, I'm sorry, I started talking and my lips screwed up what I was trying to say. I know a lot of the dungeons are named after what they're shaped after, or their shape is based off of however you would word that correctly. But But just the Dancing Dragon dungeon's just like a giant kick to the nuts, because it's like, Dancing Dragon dungeon, this is gonna be fucking awesome, and then Goma's the boss, and Goma's a crab, and it's like, what the fuck? What's going on here? I am so not happy by these turn of events, and oh, there's the anti-fairy. That was a really weird, thought process. But you know, this level's just shaped like a crown on a head, like see, and then the bottom one is the head. And I would show you guys that. I mean, you can see it on the sidebar, but with my emulation, it crashes sometimes whenever I do that. No clue why, but you know, I'm not gonna risk it because I'm not really too concerned about the shape of the dungeon, because I kind of have it you know, beaten into my head where to go. Which is actually surprising, because, like I said earlier, I kind of get thrown for a loop, so I'm really glad that this dungeon's been going as well as it has thus far. I mean, this is the room that I normally get stuck at, where it's like, man, I need a fucking key, and actually I'm going to run back into that room, so we can go ahead and grab that treasure chest right there. Having sword beams is so convenient this early on in the game. I mean, sword beams are just a convenient thing in general, and I'm thinking we're going to have to take out this ball and train trooper, because he's looking like he's going to be a douchebag if we don't. There's probably something tied into, you know, killing him, but, well, I guess we'll see what that is, because I love fighting these guys, because, well, I guess that's why I like the Canis Maria, because it reminds me of A Link to the Past, and A Link to the Past is, like, one of my favorite Zelda games. Like, I don't know, like, A Link to the Past was one of my favorite things to do. I didn't own a Super Nintendo as a kid, like, my friend owned it, so I had to go over to his house to play it. So I ended up spending a lot of time at his house playing the game. Like, there'd be times where I would spend the night at his house, and he'd spend the night at my house, and, like, I would be at his house, and he would be at my house, like, separately. Like, we were just playing games on each other's consoles, because I had an NES, and eventually got the Nintendo 64, so we just, like, traded, you know, playing each other's games. Those were the good old days. Now, this puzzle, can be a bit jerky if you don't look at it like, that other puzzle where you can stop the blocks from moving, because they all move as a pair. I don't know if it's possible, or actually, it would be impossible just to move them on normally. You need to, you know, mess with the blocks to be able to get them on properly, since they move as a pair depending on their color. Let's go ahead and move you down, push you over a bit, and we can get this one, and go ahead and just throw it in this hole. Hopefully we won't... Oh no, we're screwed. Why wasn't I thinking about that? Because once you get, you know, one block on one, once they get stuck like that, you're unable to move them, and I just, like, walk straight into that hole. Let's go ahead and just throw this guy on there, so, you know, all of our dreams will come true, and everybody will be happy. No, we screwed ourselves, because... No, we haven't screwed ourselves, because we can move the block away from that spot, and everything is good. See, this is why this puzzle can be a bit jerky. It's not a hard puzzle, but it's definitely a jerky puzzle. Not that it performs bad, like, it's definitely a neat puzzle, but, you know, it's just like, come on, dude. You're screwing with my head, dog. And why isn't that going down? Like this puzzle can definitely take a while if you're a dum-dum like me, that is. Let's go ahead and move the yellow out of the way. We'll go ahead and just push you in there, and I'm gonna push the red forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay down that block that I was gonna lay down earlier, and we can, you know, start getting a move on with pushing the block in the right spot. Like I said, not a hard puzzle, but it can kind of be, it's one of those puzzles that you can screw up very easily, since you have so many blocks moving around at the same time. I don't really know what to say about it, because I mean, we've beaten it. Like, I'm sure the owl... No, I actually remember what this owl says. He says, bring them all to me. He says something to that effect. And, then you're like, okay, I'll just push them all around you. And I think this gets you the boss key. I'm not sure if we're that far in the dungeon, though. And why am I not pushing the block down? I keep slipping off the block. That was really weird. And there's the boss key. Wow, we are at the end of the dungeon. I guess we've been to every room. Have we really been to every room? Yeah, it looks like we've been to every room. Like, I know we saw that empty room, but it's above the boss's room, which means that's probably where the essence is. I mean, I'm just assuming, because that's normally how that works. I mean, there are a few exceptions to the rule, but there are exceptions, not the rule itself. And I'm hoping we can get we can get back without any problems, because, you know, we'll get stuck on a block at one point and we'll be like, oh darn, that sucks. But this place isn't too hard to get out of, because not this place, like the Crown Dungeon in general, but this little area, excuse me, because you can just go ahead and, you can actually jump on top of the blocks. Like, I'm not sure if I ever did that, but, that was a big trick that I found whenever I was a kid, and I tried to abuse it, but you can't, there's not too many, like, you know, game-breaking glitches with it. Well, not game-breaking glitches, but, you know, like, ease of access things, and I really wish there was another switch here, because it'd be really convenient. But no, we gotta go run back. I'm glad that there was that little shortcut from that area to here, but still, it would have been much more convenient. Oh darn, we don't have enough hearts to do a sword beam. Let's hope this guy drops a heart. That'd be really bomb. That's suck. That is major suck. And why do I have mystery? Oh, I had a mystery seed equipped because I tried to shoot a mystery seed at the Sparky guy that we saw earlier in the level. Because I was like, maybe he'll turn into a fairy, thinking he was still the anti-fairy. But no, he's not the anti-fairy. Anti-fairies are the ones with the skulls. The other ones, I don't know what their names are. They're electric guys. I guess Sparky is what we call them. I don't know. But we're about to run into the boss, so I'm gonna hope that these bottles will drop a heart, because that'd be very nice. Because they normally like to prepare you before you get to the boss. But this boss, fuck it, we'll just run to the boss, see what happens. You know, it'll all be good. Let's see. It's time for a little game. I break apart if you can force me back together, and blow me away it ends. But before you do, I shall take a bit of your soul. Now begin. Now this boss, I fucking hate this boss, but I love this boss. This is such a cool concept for a boss, because this is just like a puzzle boss. Like this is like a perfect like puzzly boss. Like you put him together, you beat the crap out of him, and he goes on to his next stage. But I had a really hard time with this as a kid. I got stuck on this level for like 2 weeks. This, I actually really like this dungeon, for that, because since I got stuck here for 2 weeks, I actually ended up putting the game down. And that's what made me go play Majora's Mask, because I had stopped playing Majora's Mask as a kid, because I was like, no, this is too, like, fucking nerve-wracking with, you know, the time limit. Like, that made me really nervous as a kid. And where did he go? Sometimes they get off, and it's really weird. If you need to reset it because, you know, something weird happens and you're having trouble, you can reset it by pushing that button. But no, this boss is what made me go play Majora's Mask, just because I got so stuck. Also, if you're having trouble with the timing on getting them to run into each other, if you hit them with a sword, they slow down, so you can kind of keep them there so they'll run into each other if you're having problems with that. And darn it, he got stuck over there, which is a problem. It's harder to get him to go over to this thingy, because he's gonna try and like instinctively like go back over there, but that should get him locked on, so that's good. So we should be able to make them run into each other. I think you gotta do this 3 or 4 times. I'm not sure on the exact number, but that seems like how many that they would make you do, and we can probably hold this guy a bit easier. Like is he dead already? Is he really dead? Like, I got stuck on this boss for like 2... No, he's not dead. He can't be dead. Okay, good. I was about to get really pissed at myself. He's not like a particularly hard boss, but he's definitely like a thinking boss, and I just couldn't. I guess I was stupid as a kid, like we've gone over before this. I was a stupid kid, but you know, I must have been really stupid as a kid. Oh childhood, and hopefully we get them to bump into each other, because he kind of like tricks you out, because he does the like dying explosion thing every time the puzzle resets. But I think it is just 4. I think there are different combinations of puzzles that you can get, because I remember one of them being like really easy, and I was always like hoping to get that one whenever I played, because I was, like I said, I was having problems with the boss, and darn it, he got stuck on the wall, so I'm gonna go ahead and reset it, because it's a bit harder to get them once they're... Actually, it's not harder now that I think about it, to get them once they're stuck on the wall. But you know, it's too late for thinking. I've already screwed the pooch on that in that department. So let's go ahead and get him on that block, so we can get him to wait here for his other little buddy, so we can go ahead and get him stuck together. Now, I don't know the name of this boss, but he reminds me of Huff and Puff from oh god, yeah, he shocks you whenever he hits you, by the way, and I think he is dead this time. But he reminds me of Huff and Puff from Paper Mario, so I've always called him Huff and Puff, even though, you know, that's probably not his name, but that's always what I've called him. So we've beaten him, that hard fucking boss that, well, he's not really a hard boss, but you know, he's definitely a boss that was hard for me when I was younger, and we get the sacred soil for doing such. All that lies sleeping in the bosom of the earth will know the nourishing warmth of the sacred soil. So now we can, you know, plant seeds and they'll grow in the future. Like, we weren't able to do that before, you silly essence of time. You silly essence of time. Now let's see what the Maku tree has to say. I mean, she's a tree. She loves soil. There's that Valentine's gift that we were talking about getting her. There we go! Yeah, we're making our lady happy. Lonk, I still hear an essence echoing near Rolling Ridge, huh? I think someone's come! Who's come? I'll take on any challenger who approach. Oh, it's just a Goron. Hey, Goron. I was digging a new tunnel and I ended up here. Hey, what are you doing here? Don't you know, games are the new fad on Rolling Ridge. You should check them out too. So now we're entering probably the most dickish part of this game, which is the next level. we have a ton of mini-games to do, because Gorons have just decided that they just fucking love mini-games. So in the next episode, we're going to explore more of the new part of Rolling Ridge that we've just unlocked, and, you know, we'll go see what these Goron mini-games are. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.